Hi, and welcome to the BDO Debt Solutions Podcast. I'm Tara Bellio, and this episode is for all those Canadians out there who have made it through the all-night study sessions, the endless essays, and the late-night cramming for finals. Congratulations, you are officially a university or college graduate. But now it's on to your next set of opportunities and challenges. And if you're feeling both excited and intimidated, you are not alone. I know I did, and life after graduation brings a lot of life decisions. You're transitioning to the working world and taking charge of your own finances. For many grads, that includes taking charge of your debt. So our 2017 student debt poll found that only 33% of Canadians graduated from university or college debt-free. I know I am not one of those. I graduated with debt, and I know many Canadians are in the same boat. So whether you're dealing with a little or a lot, heading into the world with debt can be really stressful. And the thing is, the more you know about debt, the better. So we've gathered a couple of our LATs together to provide you with some post-graduation debt advice, including strategies that will help you to repay your debt, avoid getting into any additional debt, and get help if you need it. Joining us for the first time is Paul Nyetchuk from our Hamilton office, a regular Craig Friesick from our Calgary office, our president Doug Jones from our Barrie office, and another first-timer, Beth Ann Bone from our Oshawa office. Paul, welcome. I want to go back to September and revisit our student debt poll. We asked 21 to 39-year-olds to reflect on their student debt. 2 in 3 Canadian graduates told us that they had finished university or college carrying student debt. Another surprising result was 77% of those grads told us that they now regret taking on that debt. What's the first thing a new grad should know if they're finishing school carrying debt?
For our new grads, first of all, congratulations. You've earned it. You've accomplished one of your life goals. You're ready to move on to your next stage in life. However, a lot of grads out there don't know where to turn to. They don't know what to do. You have those student loan payments that are going to be coming up, and it can be nerve-wracking at all. A major institution last year, financial institution, found that students expected to graduate with an average of $30,000 in debt. $30,000 is a lot to a lot of people. However, that amount could go up if you've gone on to grad work or post-grad work as well. $30,000 or more can be very stressful for young adults who are about to enter the workforce. One thing to remember is that debt does not need to be stressful. In order to reduce that stress, it's important to have a plan. It's important to have a debt repayment plan. And if you don't have one, get one in place right away. What is a debt repayment plan? Well, if you think about your school studies for the last few years, you've had plans in place. You've had study plans in place. You know where you're going to have to be studying. You know you're going to have to juggle different courses, different tests at various times. A financial plan and a debt repayment plan is very similar as well. It's going to chart out over the next few years. How are you going to repay your student loans? How are you going to live while you're repaying that student loans? And where are you going to be spending your money? First of all, grads, you need to sit back and take stock of your situation. Sit back and ask those simple questions that you probably already know the answers to. Where are you living right now? Are you living on your own? Where are you going to be living? You might have moved back home for the short term, but you also might want to move out, not only for a job, but also to be on your own and also to grow as well. What is your income? Do you have a steady income right now? Are you going to have an income in the near future? What are your expenses? Student loans might be one of your only expenses, even if you're living at home. You might have other expenses to, eating out, dining out, new clothes for the workforce as well. So it can become expensive as well. Look at your budget. Your budget is very important as part of this repayment strategy. So it's important to sit down and actually have a month-to-month budget. If you don't know where to start on a budget, go to BDO's website. debtsolutions.bdo.ca. We have budget worksheets there. It's as simple as sitting down on an Excel spreadsheet. Or if you don't even want to do it on a computer, you can sit at your kitchen table and get down your income and expenses. Once you have that, you can focus on how much money am I going to be able to pay back against my student loans. Now is the time to decide on what is your best repayment strategy for your circumstances as well. Now, student loans have grace periods when you are done school. During that period of time, the government is giving you the opportunity to move forward without having to worry about your student loans. However, with your budget, if you are able to discover that you are able to pay back your student loans, it is very important that you can start paying that back right away. Why? You're going to reduce your interest charges. Interest is the one thing on your student loans that it's going to accumulate over this period of time. And you want to be able to make sure that you pay the least amount of interest. You've borrowed that money for the education. You want to pay back that money, but you also want to avoid paying extra interest charges you don't have to. Remember, set up automated plans as well for your student loan payments. Every little bit helps as well.
So Craig, when students graduate, they're often hit with a number of financial obligations and life decisions all at once. Where should paying off debt fall in their list of priorities?
Most grads exit university with a lot of decisions to make. They're trying to figure out living arrangements and transportation. Do I take the bus or do I take out a loan for a vehicle while I'm applying for jobs, and dealing with debt and so much more. It's really important to prioritize debt repayment as much as possible. At the very least, keep up minimum payments on all debt. Pay more if you can. This is your chance to start building a good credit history. We recommend tackling the highest interest debt first, your credit card debt. Repaying debt, it has to be a priority. It should be one of your main things that you're focused on. Fast-tracking student loan repayment may not be possible depending on income, but you really want to make sure you're not building more debt. Real key point and for success is just to automate your debt repayments. If every paycheck you get or every little bit of money you have goes automatically into paying off your debt, you're going to be so successful going forward.
Let's talk about credit cards, Doug. A recent report found that Gen Z, those Canadians born between the mid-1990s and mid-2000s, are borrowing money at a faster rate than any other generation. 80% of Gen Z debt is on credit cards. So what credit card strategies should grads adopt to avoid debt problems?
I'm going to start by noting that credit cards are fairly easy to obtain, and if used wisely, can actually establish a very positive credit history for an individual. Unfortunately, if they're used unwisely, they can prove to be very expensive loans and actually harm your credit score. So there's a couple of facts that I think people should consider. One is that you should never exceed 35% of the available room on your credit card. If you borrow more than 35% of the available room, the credit rating agencies see this as a need for cash and will actually harm your credit score. Two, credit cards usually have an interest rate of around 18% and will increase from this rate with missed payments. So my advice is to pay the balance in full if at all possible, and to do so by the due date. If you're unable to pay the balance in full, at least make the minimum payment to avoid a credit rating effect. The ideal case, of course, is to pay the balance in full by the due date so you're not incurring the high interest rate charges. 3. Never apply for multiple credit cards at the same time. The more credit you're seeking, the higher risk rating is to the credit rating agencies, and it will negatively affect your credit score. 4. A smart plan is to have 1 or 2 small monthly bills automatically charged to your credit card, which you will then pay in full by the due date. By doing so, you'll establish a positive track record on your credit card, and it will help your overall credit score.
Beth Ann, a lot of grads won't have a regular source of income waiting for them when they graduate. And without that regular paycheck, debt repayment gets that much harder. What should these recent grads know when they just can't keep up with their debt?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to all of the graduates out there for one of the best investments that they've probably made in their lives. One of the things that we definitely want to make sure people understand is to know where to turn for debt help. what are the options that are available. Most students would know that the Canada Student Loans offers a 6-month grace period before graduates are required to start making regular payments. On top of that, there are a lot of repayment assistance and forgiveness programs throughout the different provinces. We would recommend that you check out the Government of Canada website to see what resources are available. If you're dealing with a government student loan, if you're dealing with a bank student loan, which there are a lot of student loans out there that are done through a student line of credit, check with the bank to see what the repayment terms are, what kind of negotiations are available, what grace period do they offer, and have a plan in place ahead of schedule so you know when to make your payments.
I'd like to thank our LITs, Paul, Craig, Doug, and Beth Ann, for their insight and advice. We hope you shared this podcast with any new graduates in your life, and remember to check out our YouTube channel, BDO Debt Solutions Canada, for more podcasts and videos. In our next episode, we ask the question, do you need to be debt-free to travel this summer? Our LITs have some great advice and tips, so stay tuned. Until next time, I'm Tara Bellio, reminding you that it is possible to leave debt behind.